talked a few days ago on Warriors Today about potentially bringing back Andrew Wiggins in a Jonathan Kuminga trade once his restriction is lifted on January 15th. But I guess the Warriors are swinging for bigger fish than Wiggs. A new report came out that the Golden State Warriors are monitoring Bam Adebayo's situation in Miami and have some trade interest. We're going to discuss that on today's show, bring you a trade idea as well as some other names that were on Golden State's radar per NBA insider Brett Siegel. First, though, if you guys would want Bam Adebayo on the Warriors, like the video. This would be nuts, and everybody who's watching today's show should want Bam Adebayo on Golden State, so go down below, smash that thumbs up icon for me. All right, let's talk about it, man. Brett Siegel of ClutchPoints saying the following: we have all heard about Golden State's interest in Giannis Antetokounmpo dating back before the 2020 pandemic, and that will be a situation the team monitors very closely in Milwaukee. Sure. Bam Adebayo is another all-star in the East who would be at the top of the Warriors' list of potential trade targets if he were ever to request a trade from the Miami Heat, sources said. Woo! Now, is he going to request a trade from the Miami Heat? Probably not, but the Heat are in a really weird spot as it stands right now. The East isn't necessarily a great conference, but the Heat aren't necessarily a great team either. They're led by Tyler Hero, who, by the way, is out for the first month or so of the season. Also, Wiggins is the next best creator. He's not necessarily a guy who's dominating the ball at this stage in his career. You got Kasper Siakam. How big of a role is he going to have in his rookie year? Kel'el Ware, how good is he as a top option within an offense? Bam's going to be looking at himself in the mirror and be like, yo, what is around me right now? I'm not, one of these elite shot creators in the league. I'm a center. I'm one of the league's best defenders. I play well within an offense, but I'm not a guy who can carry a team to, a number one seed or a contending status in this league. So the Heat are looking at this middle of the pack road where you don't want to be, NBA purgatory. And honestly, without Hero, they could be in a spot where they're towards the bottom of the Eastern Conference. Bam Adebayo is in the middle of his prime right now. Does he want to be in that situation here for the next 4 or 5 years? Just signed a 3-year extension, but does he really want to see that whole thing through? Because this is one of the best centers in the NBA. Over the last season, he was 18-10, and this is a pretty off year. Also a player who was expanding his range beyond the three-point line as well. Shot nearly league average last year, 35.7%. And then in the playoffs, he does not fall off a cliff whatsoever. An underrated playmaker with the ball in his hands as well. Four assists a night in the regular season and playoffs. Obviously, only a 4-game sample size there against Cleveland, but he held his own, man. 17-10. That's what you're going to get automatically from Bam Adebayo, but he's done better than this throughout his career. He's one of these guys who I believe in the right place can be 20 plus and 12 rebounds every single night. Because at 28 years old, he's already accomplished so much. He's a 3-time All-Star, 5-time All-Defensive Player. Has yet to receive that DPOY award just yet, and I think he's been robbed a couple of times, to be quite frank with you. A 2-time Olympic gold medalist and somebody that Steve Kerr has relied upon in the Olympics to this point. So I'm sure he would love to have him in Golden State here. 4th in points, 2nd in rebounds, and 3rd in assists since he has entered the league. So, that is really, really awesome to see here for Bam. He's been a guy who's constantly healthy as well. And his contract, look, as far as what Golden State could trade for this year, it is possible. He's in the last year of his most previous contract, $37.1 million. So I got the star there because after this season, his number goes up a ton to $50 million a season in 26-27, starting a 3-year, $160 million extension with the Heat that results in a player option in the 3rd year for $57.6 million. You know what's crazy about that number? Bam Adebayo is probably going to decline that player option in 2028, 2029. $57.6 million. It's a crazy NBA world that we live in these days. Will be a restricted free agent in 2029 if he decides to accept it, but could be a free agent as soon as 2028. I think Golden State would want to get him in town sooner, though, rather than later, and they have the exact trade chips to be able to do it. What say you, though? Should the Warriors trade for Bam Adebayo? Why for yes and for no? What do you guys have to say? Let me know down in the comment section if this is a player that you would be super interested in bringing into the Bay Area. Because next, we're going to get into a trade idea for Bam Adebayo here, plus couple more names here that Brett Siegel had on Golden State's radar in his most recent write-up. That in just a moment. First, though, I got to tell you guys about our sponsor, as this episode is brought to you by Prize Picks. Prize Picks is the best daily fantasy sports app because you and I make decisions every single day on Prize Picks. Being right can get you paid. And this basketball season, they already have the opening night projections. Jimmy Butler, more than 6 rebounds. Luka Doncic, more than 29 points. And Steph Curry, more than 24.5 points. What does this all mean? It's so simple. It's daily fantasy, and it's daily fantasy made easy. Just pick more or less on 2 to 6 players. I picked 3 in that one. That lineup would win me 6x my money. And just pick more or less and watch your favorite sports and win real money in real time. PrizePicks is the best because they offer awesome deals like the max discount, where they'll just totally slash an entire projection away from a player and just make it like 0.5 of their projected stat, a free square for you there. Also, they offer up the stacks promotion as well. You can do 2 stat projections for the same player in one singular PrizePicks lineup, and they always want to make it easier for you guys to win real money in real time with awesome offers like a free $50 in lineups when you play your first $5 lineup. But you got to use our promo code CLNS, like you see in the bottom right of your screen. So you saw my lineup earlier, had Butler, had Luka, had Steph. You can mix and match all different sports, as well as we have football season and the baseball playoffs in full swing as well. Just use promo code CLNS when you sign up to get $50 in lineups after you play your first $5 lineup. That's code CLNS at PrizePicks to get $50 in lineups after you play your first $5 lineup. PrizePicks, it's good to be right. Look, yes, the Warriors should absolutely trade for Bam Adebayo. Bam Adebayo is a top 25 player in the NBA. He is the best defender at his position. He can defend bigs. He can defend wings. You even get him switched out onto a guard. He can do the job. And I think there's still some room for him to grow, especially in a Golden State offense as a player. So let's look at what it would cost for Bam Adebayo, because top 25 players in this league, yeah, they do not come cheap. And like I mentioned before, the Warriors have that trading restriction for Jonathan Kuminga being lifted January 15th. So he will be the headliner going away in this deal. I know it's crazy, but we'll see if the Heat want to take the bait on these potential really high priority draft picks here. Jonathan Kuminga goes away, his $22.5 million contract in this season, as well as Moses Moody and Buddy Hield. So some concerns that Golden State has, and I don't think you would have these concerns if you're bringing in Bam Adebayo anyway, but are having their books kind of clogged up in the summer of 2027 when Steph, Jimmy, and Draymond's contracts are all off of the books. Well, the only 2 players who are on contract after that summer are Moses Moody and Buddy Hield. So you'd be getting rid of those 2 guys and bringing in Bam Adebayo for an additional about $30 million or so. Also, you'd be bringing in Pele Larson, a nice untapped player there at the guard spot for Miami. The real kickers here for the Heat would be the picks. I saw a projection out there, a proposal that had the 2028 first-round pick for Golden State and the 2032 first-round pick for Golden State going to Miami here. Those are priority selections because you have no idea what the team's going to look like in 2028 and 2032. There's probably not a good chance that Steph Curry is still a member of the Golden State Warriors. Also, you throw in a pick swap somewhere in between there to just get the Heat a little bit more of an incentive there, and that's the deal that you're looking at. Now, why the Warriors do this, it's pretty plain and simple, right? I mean, you give Steph the bona fide top 3 center in the league. Like, fortified, elite rim protector can be counted upon every single time. A nice successor to Draymond Green is, one of the best defenders in the league at the forward and center spot. Elite screen setter for Steph, both on and off the ball, by the way. And then turning into that can be an elite lob threat and player around the rim. And then everything else after that in Bam Adebayo's skill set is just a cherry on top. Can provide spacing from the three-point line as his career ages. You've seen guys like Al Horford, like Brook Lopez, become elite three-point shooters as their careers have progressed along, like past their physical primes. So I think that's absolutely still a possibility on the table. And then this is getting Steph a real legit all-NBA level talent next to him for the real last years of his career. That should be the number 1 priority. Prioritize number 30, the player who has put this franchise from in the gutter all the way to valued at 10 figures as it stands right now. You need to prioritize Steph's latter years of his career because he's still playing like a top 5 player in this league. So go get him top 25 talent. The Heat, why would they do it? There's not a ton of reasons why, to be honest. There isn't a laundry list of reasons to trade away your franchise player. Now, can Bam Adebayo be a franchise number 1 option, somebody who's the highest paid player on your team? I don't think so if you want to win a championship. That's why you're going to bring him in here to be Steph's, kind of Robin for the last couple of years that he's out there on the court. Now, the Heat make this move if they're going into full rebuild. If they are tired of this kind of purgatory that they've been in here over the last year or so, and probably will be in for the next season, maybe 2. Maybe they could be at the bottom of the Eastern Conference here this season or the next. You never know with how this league is. There's other teams that are younger and getting better than the Miami Heat at the bottom of that Eastern Conference. Eventually, some of these bottom feeders are going to jump some of these aging veteran teams, and I think the Heat are going to be a victim of that. So they may want to be in a position where they go out there and just fully scrap everything, rebuild it all. You get a guy in Jonathan Kuminga who's 23 years old, wants to be the man, can play losing basketball for you. You can get your own bad picks over the next few seasons and Warriors picks once Steph is retired. I think this is a no-brainer for both sides here. Plus, you get some movable contracts in Moses Moody and Buddy Hield as well. Would you accept this trade if you were Golden State? A for accept, D for decline. I want to know from Dub Nation if you're willing to give away Kuminga plus 3 very high priority picks plus Moses Moody and Buddy Hield in order to bring Bam Adebayo and Pele Larson over to the Bay Area. No-brainer. No-brainer. Accept it 100 times out of 100. Like, next. Get him here now. I need Bam Adebayo on the Warriors yesterday. Like, I don't really have much to say about that. He's top 25 in the league. He's the best defender at his position. He has room to grow offensively. Bring him to Golden State. With that being said, a couple more trade targets that are probably a little bit more realistic than Bam Adebayo as far as this season goes. Start with Malik Monk. Now, is Golden State going to want to do this deal? Probably not. So we're not going to spend too much time here on Monk. If they wanted him, they would have dealt for him already. Doesn't seem like that's something that they see equal value in with Jonathan Kuminga. Trey Murphy, I think they absolutely see equal value, if not way more, than Jonathan Kuminga here. They're going to have to give away multiple picks in order to make this happen, but Trey Murphy is the number 1 player I have on my radar here as a trade target for Golden State. Herb Jones, also a member of the New Orleans Pelicans, could be a little more realistic, though, as the Pelicans have held Trey Murphy out of any conversations in the trade market to this point. Herb Jones, I think, could be in line for a little bit more realistic of a call between Golden State and New Orleans. Ayo Dosunmu in Chicago. You're going to have to pay him after this year. And I don't know if Golden State wants to commit long-term to really anybody if you're not a top 25 player in this league. So we'll see if they want to do that. Roll the dice on Dosunmu, who I think is absolutely a winning starting level player in this league on a championship roster. And then also on the Bulls, not Kobe White, whose contract is up after this year, who wants a bunch of money. No, Isaac Okoro, who they recently traded for in the Lonzo Ball deal. I think this could be a guy who kind of plays Kuminga-esque, a truly complementary player. Does he have a super high ceiling? No. But can he be effective? Can he be a winner? I do think so. Solid defender, really lengthy, and can hit the outside shot a much higher clip than Kuminga can at this point. Now, this is all theorizing. This is all up in the air because Dunleavy necessarily has not zeroed in on any trade right now for Jonathan Kuminga. That's way down the line. It isn't even possible to happen right now. So he's kind of doing this GM speak in these press conferences and whatnot on how he views this roster. But let's just hear from him on what he thinks. He says, we feel like we have a player who can be really good. I don't feel like there's a need to make a move. Now, we'll see how the season unfolds. Around this time last year, I would have said we need to get better. I don't feel that right now. I think we've done just enough to take us to another level, and I'm really optimistic about this group. We'll see how long you're optimistic about this group. We'll see how long it takes before Mike Dunleavy changes his tune here on the trade market on Kuminga as it gets closer and closer to January 15th. More of those names that you just saw on that list will start to pop up a little more frequently, and I don't know if a Bam Adebayo trade will materialize this season, but if it had any legs, I would be all over that as the Warriors' big swing trade of the year. Would be interesting if the Warriors got another deal done, a massive deal done, 2 franchise players from Miami going to Golden State. That will do it for today's edition of Warriors Today. We will be keeping tabs on all the Warriors trade rumors that pop up here as the season gets underway. We'll be back with another video tomorrow as well. So we'll see you guys in the next one. And as always, let's go Dubs.